Listen, I don't really have like no pre-pro or nothing, whatever the fuck the case may be. But I just got off work or whatever the fuck. And I've just been out. Doing work. I was just listening to Joe Rogan or whatever the fuck, right? And that shit got me thinking about, my life and where it's headed or whatever the fuck it was. And I don't know if you fools can relate, but sometimes you just feel like everything is falling apart. You might be making strides, making plans, but sometimes it just don't. The reality that stands in front of you is not indicative of where you're trying to go or what you envisioned for your life. Like, bro, I'm gonna be dead ass honest with you. I never thought that I would even be in this situation that I am right now, bro. Like, never in a million years would have thought, especially living out in LA, that I'd be like a fucking FedEx driver in the middle of buttfuck Missouri. You know what I mean? So there is this air of disappointment in my life. You know what I mean? Disappointment at the way that shit turned out. You know what I mean? And it really does bother me because, like, I consider myself a very ambitious man. Very ambitious. So for my life to turn out like how it has, has been something that has bothered me for a very long time. Now, with that being said, like, there are obviously things, and this is where I'll get into where the meat of my first podcast or whatever the fuck. I ain't gonna make it too long. But I was trying to do too many things, right? Without taking the proper steps or the proper fundamentals of one thing first, right? Proper discipline. Like, a lot of the reason why I'm in the situation I'm in is by my own doing. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's a big thing that I want to talk about sometimes is you have to recognize when you're the architect of your own destruction in a lot of ways. You feel me? Whether it be lack of discipline, lack of execution, or whatever the case may be. I think the first step to being able to march towards whatever it is that you're trying to achieve is to understand where you're at and be able to look objectively at the reality in front of you. And a lot of times, bro, in life, like, we don't do that shit. You feel me? You feel what I'm saying? That's why you have so many haters in the world and shit like that. So many people, a lot of people are haters, like motherfuckers who hate on other motherfuckers, especially wealthy motherfuckers, are a lot of times just jealous of the fact, are really upset at the fact that, in the back of their minds and in their heart of hearts, they thought it should have been them that sat at that seat or been in that position or whatever the case may be, right? And I believe that's like a thing that affects all of us. Like, that's some shit that affects every last person on planet Earth, bro. At some point in junction in time, you probably had a situation where you thought, man, or looked at another motherfucker situation and thought, like, damn, dog, that should have been me. You know what I'm saying? But the difference is the work ethic. And let me tell you something right now. Work ethic ain't fair. That's another thing I'm learning too. You might have to work harder than the other motherfucker to achieve the same result or be higher, and that might sound unfair, but life itself ain't fair, motherfucker. If a motherfucking meteor comes out the fucking sky and destroys the entirety of the human race, and then there's another civilization on a planet on Proxima Centauri or some stupid shit like that gets to live, do we say that's unfair? Nah, it's just reality. And sometimes you have to come to terms with that. Like, maybe your journey to success is gonna take longer than another nigga's or another motherfucker's. And the reason why I say that is because, like I said, bro, like, I'm not exempt. Like, I've had a lot of moments like that. Like I've had a lot of moments where I struggle with this whole, I struggle with this whole idea of watching other people basically blow past me in terms of being established in life and the whole 9 yards and everything, my nigga. And sometimes you can be mad at that shit because it's like, damn, dog, like I got all these crazy ideas. I'm super creative, the whole fucking 9 yards. And I'm a fucking FedEx driver sitting in the motherfucking, you know what I'm saying? Sitting at the motherfucking house and shit like that. So there's a lot of resentment that comes with, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of resentment that comes in people's lives, most people's lives. Because a lot of people in general, don't ever really get an opportunity to do what they set out to do, or do what they really want to do, or have fuck you money, or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? But your quality of life at the end of the day is what you make it. You might not be in control of how you started, but you are in control of how you finish. And that's something that I'm, looking into. And I think one of the biggest deficiencies I have is, in my Virgo nature, to not take risks. You know what I mean? I have a tendency to want everything to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? As a Virgo, you want to be a perfectionist. You know what I mean? I want to be to the T with shit. And sometimes I'll be looking too much at, I'll be looking at the finished product too much instead of just taking the small steps that you need to take every day. And most importantly, I'm not the person that takes a lot of risks. And at this point in my life, my nigga, I need to take the risk. You know what I mean? I just got to take the risk, the chance, whatever the fuck it takes, bro. And whatever sacrifice you just got to make, you just got to make. And whatever you lose whatever you lose in the process of making that choice or making that sacrifice, don't worry, there's going to be, light at the end of the tunnel. But it's hard to see that when you're not taking the risks, when you're not taking the chances. All that shit just gets cloudy, bro. Like I'm telling y'all from my own personal experience. Like everything is just cloudy. You don't know how shit's gonna turn out because, like I said, you're just not taking steps. Like you're not walking through the valley of the shadow of death, if that makes any sense. You're not walking through the valley of the shadow of death. You're just staring at the valley of the shadow of death and everything looks dark. But sometimes, my nigga, you just have to walk through that bitch. You just have to walk, bro. All right? Don't think. Don't worry about the end result. Just take the steps necessary every single day. Which is crazy for me because personally, bro, I get up and go to the gym practically every motherfucking day. And train regardless of whether I feel like it or not. My problem is like, motherfucker, when it comes to executing on the things that I really want to do with my life, with my career and my legacy, it's like, why don't I have that same motherfucking energy sometimes? Granted, there's a lot of resentment that comes from it, you know what I'm saying? That's probably the reason. But at the same time, bro, like nobody's going to live this life shit for you, bro. And if you die, there's going to be somebody else that does whatever you trying to do better. There may not be another you if you die, but somebody else will fill the position, if that makes any sense. So knowing that and understanding that I only got one life, my nigga, I got to just start taking more risks. Live with reckless abandon, my nigga, because you're going to die anyway. Sooner rather than later, more than likely. You feel what I'm saying? So with that being said, bro, I just got to take the risk. So with that being said, motherfucker, this will be my first fucking podcast. This will be the first one. And I haven't thought of a name yet. But fuck it. This is it. You heard? Publish that bitch.